Hi, everyone. This is Jessica with Whispers of Grace Healing. I am here today to talk about how conditioning and limiting beliefs can affect our physical and emotional body. This seems to be a thing that we all have and have all gone through, and it's something that most of us are very unaware of until we come to some sort of awareness of why we are the way we are and why we do what we do. A lot of people also don't understand just how much repressed emotion can really take a toll on the physical body, and why it's so important for us to properly be with our emotions and give them the stage to release the animosity, the resentment, and the blockages we have towards being open to life. So many of us just naturally carry a lot of tension in our shoulders, and it's usually because we take on more than we can really handle, and we keep pushing forward because most of us have a limiting belief that taking a rest day is selfish, or saying no to something is being selfish, right? And so we get to this point where we keep pushing and pushing along and not taking the proper procedure in taking time for ourselves, right? We usually end up using distractions in order to fill our time, and then we wonder why we never feel really rested. So we're going to be going over quite a few things and just allowing the conversation to go wherever it needs to go. But usually we all repress something, and a lot of what we are conditioned to believe are things that we have learned through our upbringing and throughout our life experiences. There's been plenty of people within the world and within our community that are struggling with self-love or having trust within personal relationships. And I think if we just look at the bigger picture, we will see that a lot of our conditionings and limiting beliefs actually stem from our childhood and the things that we've witnessed as we've grown up. Most people who have a mistrust towards love usually come from a broken home, or one thing that I've heard, a lot is, oh, well, maybe they were a good parent, but they weren't a good spouse. And so there's a lot of things that we learn from our parents and who learn from their parents. And we end up accepting it as a truth in our world. So, where some people might have a situation where your parents are married, but you have a father who was not loyal, or maybe worked too much and didn't wasn't very present for a lot of things, or maybe had an addiction issue or something like that, and the mother tends to overlook a lot of things, sweep things under the rug, takes a lot of physical, mental, or verbal abuse, tends to settle, not speak up about certain things, and then ends up leading to paranoia, pointing blame, using the husband's actions and giving away power to feel, stay with what is comfortable and familiar because they're too afraid to leave a situation that they have become dependent on. Things like that, which a lot of what we see. Now, that could also go for on a man's perspective. There's a lot of codependent behaviors that we all have, Okay, to say, some people are just scared of being alone, and a lot of people end up acting out certain behaviors to try to fill a void or end up what they did not get from their parents. They end up attracting someone that either needs to be fixed or saved in order to feel needed. Now, if you have been in traumatic situations or where you had a parent or a sibling or even just in school, which most of us have dealt with some sort of bullying in our life, no matter who that comes from. But what happens is something is said, and this is where projections come from. Something from an insecure standpoint is projected onto another person. So, say, you were called fat, or you were called ugly, or stupid, or slow, or whatever the projection is, right? It usually comes from an insecure standpoint in order to feel in control. And so we end up accepting that if we hear it so many times, well, maybe I am fat, maybe I am ugly, and we end up acting out certain behaviors to basically confirm the limiting belief that has been placed upon us. And when it comes from someone we love or we care about, it tends to sink deeper and into an emotional trigger. Um, and ends up becoming a part of it resides in your body. So that limiting belief of, I am unworthy or I am not enough ends up sitting in the heart space, and it becomes this concrete belief that ends up attracting other opportunities or experiences to basically confirm what your limiting belief is. So this is why it's really important for us to be doing our work and self-awareness, and making sure that we are speaking kindly to ourselves and taking care of ourselves on a soul level, because once we have these limiting beliefs, they end up literally taking on physical manifestations. I remember at one point in my life, I had been verbally and mentally abused on so many different levels that by the time I was in my early 20s, I actually ended up having heart problems where I was on medication, on monitors, and all these things to help track what my heart was doing. And it was out of alignment. It was skipping beats. It was running really high. And I was sick for almost a year due to the emotional repression of allowing and absorbing all of this hate and negativity and all of this stuff to keep my light dimmed down. People wanted to control how I saw myself. So as the more I took on those limiting beliefs, the more my heart got broken, because I couldn't understand why no one could love me. And so over time, each fracture that happened with each belief that I took, it ended up causing a malfunction where my heart was not working properly. How many of us walk through the day with major aches and pains, and we don't even know what for? And it's because we're holding on to the stress, we're holding on to the emotional beliefs of others that have been placed upon us due out of fear and insecurity. So, how many of us walk around with anger and resentment and don't quite know how to forgive someone who has wronged us in the past, or maybe made an injustifiable comment, and we're just playing, right? Like, it's really important that we have strong boundaries for ourselves and also have enough awareness of who we are on a solid foundation level, right? Like, what are our core characteristics? And to believe in yourself enough to not accept the beliefs of others just because they are being projected from an insecure standpoint. Now, There's quite a few things when a lot of it is physical, but it's also emotional, and how we end up filling these voids of the limiting beliefs really can take a toll on everything that is happening and unfolding in your life. Even with your career, how many, when you were young, like had big dreams and had big goals and aspirations, but yet you were scoffed at when you brought it up, or people start questioning your ability? How many people, even now in your life, when you say, hey, I have this idea of this business I want to start or whatever, and, some people might be like, oh, yeah, sounds like a good idea. But secretly, they think you're going to fail. All that energy is being placed upon you, whether they are verbally saying it or not. And so we have to be very aware of what we are energetically, verbally, and physically projecting out into our environment. So, when we have enough security in ourselves, and this is what our foundation is, when we can clear out the clutter, so it starts with the limiting beliefs, how we're feeling about ourselves, how we're feeling about our world, how are we feeling about our finances. I am able, I am capable, I will, like, are you taking necessary actions to clear up your energetic and mental body? A lot of people who were not able to express themselves fully as a child, or, told to bring it down a few notches, or to be quiet, be seen, not heard, end up having a real problem communicating as they get older in life. So they'll be more introverted. They won't be able to communicate easily when their feelings are hurt. They're not going to be really good at setting boundaries for themselves, because they have the limiting belief that if I speak up for myself, this person's going to abandon me, or I'm not going to be heard. So what's the point? So you can see how the vicious cycle of, and a lot of us have been guilty of gaslighting, of making other people's emotions, especially children, not seem as big of a deal. I read something the other day that said, a child skins their knee, and at the time they feel like it's the worst pain of their life. And here comes the parent, says, oh, it's not that bad. Stop your crying. It's all okay. And, we know that there can be pain worse than what they're experiencing, but we are telling that child that what they are experiencing on an emotional and physical level is not real. So then they start questioning their own ability to gauge their emotions and start repressing them. They stop telling you when they're hurt. They stop communicating when they get older because they don't feel like they will be heard. And it's a very vicious cycle that we carry into our adulthood. And then when you get into personal relationships and you're trying to fill the voids of, am I heard? Am I seen? Am I loved? Am I understood? And you start trying to gain associations in life that further uh, reiterate the limiting beliefs that we have. And it's sad because we continue this vicious cycle without the awareness that we have the ability to stop it. And that's by making conscious choices. That's by going within and looking at the karmic patterns that we have chose to keep recreating and put a stop to it. If you have a belief that I am not enough, then you need to change the belief to I am enough, and start doing things for yourself and making choices of who you associate with that further confirm I am enough. And when we do our energy work, like our Reiki and our regression, because some of us have such deep seated limiting beliefs and baggage that we've been carrying, that through Reiki and regression and mentorship, you can start breaking down these beliefs that are keeping us stuck and stagnant from living our most fulfilling life. And it's also about taking control and saying that no matter what my external circumstances are, I feel safe and comfortable with myself, because that's really what matters. You can take opinions from all over the place, and everyone is going to give a different version. Some people might think you are the most beautiful thing that walked on this earth, and some others might think you are way below average. That's okay, because you are uniquely you, and everything about you gives you the character and the ability to stand out in this world. And it's time to embrace those facts, right? Because no one can show up in this world like you do. No one brings the emotional, like, wave of light like you do. And so many of us light bearers or light workers or healers end up going through a lot of traumatic experiences, and where we have been uh, taught to take the blow instead of suppressing it, right? To keep taking on the emotional baggage of others in order to feel needed. We get into this fixer savior complex, and we tend to take on a lot more than we should, because we don't have the self-respect or the confidence in ourselves to really set healthy boundaries before it's too late. So those are just some things that have come into awareness and things that I've learned over time. But it's a lot about being aware. Like, if you're looking at your life and you see themes happening over and over again, like, okay, say in personal relationships, you notice that it doesn't matter who you choose to stand by your side, it usually the ending ends up the same way. Or you notice a lot of the same behavioral patterns within your partnerships, or you notice that you tend to have the same fears and emotional reactions to small petty things, because you're scared and have a lot of mistrust towards your counterpart, or whatever the case may be. um, there's a lot of people who just are afraid to step outside of their comfort zone and choose something different, but yet expect a different result. And that's a very uh, vicious game to play. It is. And it starts with us, guys. If we want to have healthy, supportive, and encouraging partnerships in our life, we have to make sure that we are first doing that with ourselves and rewriting the storyline. We do not have to accept the story of our parents and our forefathers and everyone that has placed their own projections and insecurities on us, and keep carrying the weight of the chaos of this world. You can choose peace or chaos. And once you start choosing yourself and choosing to love on yourself and doing the necessary work to get rid of the energetic and emotional baggage that is keeping you from living a fulfilling life, then you're going to stay where you are. And it takes courage to say, I am done with these karmic cycles. I am done with these limiting beliefs, and taking the step to start moving forward. It's it's a big feat in itself that I think a lot of people don't give enough credit for. So if you have already started what we call shadow work, and that's by diving deep and looking at the issues that reside within and clearing it out so that we can start fresh, like, good for you. I give you a round of applause because a lot of people are scared to look at their shadow. And no, it is not an easy feat. No, it is not easy to say, I'm responsible for my life and the things that have been going down. I am responsible to handle my own trauma and my own baggage so that I am not holding everyone else responsible for my own pain. So, thank you to everyone who's been doing the work. And if you are ready to do the work, hit your girl up. That's what I do. I dig deep in order to help people figure out where the trauma is residing in your body or in your energetic field. I help you break down what your trauma bonding is. I help you understand what your limiting beliefs are, where they stem from, and help you transcend that so that you can start making better choices for yourself moving forward. So, yeah. But obviously, that's not just how it all is, and that's not all that goes into it. These are tidbits that I've noticed along my journey and how it affects us. But, the energetic things, everything's energy. So the things that we have been that have been placed upon us definitely do manifest physically. You'll notice too that people who tend to have root chakra issues or dysfunctions, like, you'll notice that they tend to have feet cramps, poor blood flow. They might have knee or joint pain, bad balance, those kind of things. You'll notice people who have a lack of creativity or have unhealthy relationships with others and don't know quite how to feel like open to receiving from other people, tend to have sacral issues. People who are lazy and unmotivated or have a lack of inspiration and free will tend to have solar plexus issues. People who have a hard time truly seeing love or giving love or even receiving, like, a lot of that is around our heart space, speaking up for yourself. And people who have throat issues, cancer, laryngitis, all these things are affected by the throat, and so on and so forth. So you will see that your personal experiences will manifest in the physical body, and it's no different than our energetic. It's all correlated. And so once you start taking care of your energetic body, your physical body will start to improve. So just keep those things in mind. And if you are interested in clearing out the negative energy and clearing the slate, getting down to the deep, dark depths of your limiting beliefs and really making a new slate for yourself, feel free to reach out to me at whispersofgrace1016@gmail.com. I would love to work with you, and thank you to everyone who has trusted me this far in their process. But if there's anything that you have noticed within your personal experiences of where you have come into awareness of how your limiting beliefs or your conditionings have turned into, you know, emotional or physical symptoms, please write down in the comments. Let us know. And how has energy healing and regression work help you get rid of some of these ailments? So, yeah, guys, I would love to hear from you. And if anyone needs a personal session, please hit me up. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, share, subscribe, drop me a comment. Let me know how it resonates, and I will talk to all of you soon. Bye.